peace and blessings. Is anybody awake? Anybody awake? Anybody awake? Let me know. Let me know. I'm going to wait for a minute or two. We'll see if anybody's awake. Let's get the juices flowing. Let's get the juices flowing. Let me see if anybody's awake. Just give me a minute or two. I'll be right back at you.
Ooh, I wanna praise you, Yahweh. I wanna thank you, Yahweh. I'm so grateful, Yahweh. I wanna thank you, Yahweh.
For the promise, life is a blessing and life is a lesson. Life is a setback and life is progression. Life is uneasy at times, life is comfortable. Life will lift you up and at times, life will humble you. Life is a gift, you better thank the Lord for it. Every chance you get, someone is less fortunate. Life goes in circles, life throws you curveballs. Life can be deceiving like preachers in the church halls. Life isn't promised. If I could be honest, the fact that I'm alive, that time has me astonished. Cause I came from the underground, being tossed around, being lost and found. Now they adore the sound of the priest, far from a nuance. Verses are proverbs, written's are the new psalms. Another song for the blocks and the avenues. Everything is plain, I don't speak to them in parables.
Praise you, Yahweh.
I wanna praise you.
I wanna thank you, Yahweh. I'm so grateful,
I'm so grateful.
Yahweh. I wanna thank you, Yahweh.
For the power I see the world through different eyes. Every Sunday got the preacher telling different lies. Hearing things that I really couldn't visualize. Should've listened, Big said you'd be hypnotized. I was a victim too, I say respectfully. They all up in the soup, don't know the recipe. Talking about I'm not who I was bred to be. Count me out, man, who made you the referee? Trying to get stripes, trying to cloud chase. At 19, I made an about face. Thanks to Christ, it's also about grace. And they lied when they said it ain't about race. But that's another song, I ain't the first to tell you. Woke up on a deeper and a surface level. Learned the laws and the Lord's changed my attitude. And the song is to show you how a gratitude. I'm so
I
grateful.
wanna praise you, Yahweh. I wanna thank you,
I wanna thank you.
Yahweh. I'm so grateful,
We're so grateful.
Yahweh. I wanna thank you, Yahweh.
Now let it ride.
I wanna praise you. I wanna thank you.
Hey. Wow. Hey, peace and blessings. Peace and blessings and shalom. And welcome to another edition of Maccabeestv. Of course, it's your brother Priest Dan, represent Lions of Israel, Maccabeestv. I see I got a few night owls or early birds, depending on your schedule, up with me. So, yeah, your eyes are not deceiving you, and I don't think the camera's doing it justice. Yo, the fog out here is as thick as pea soup, and it's raining, and it's Monday. And at any given time, one of these deer can just run out in the middle of the street like they do, and you run right into them. That's how this thing goes up here, man. But you know, I'm taking my time. I woke up a little early this morning, so I'm taking my time driving down. I'm in no rush. I'm thankful to the Most High. There's not a ton of 18-wheelers out here like there normally is on a Monday for whatever reason. So I'm grateful for that because the weather is definitely horrible out here. I ain't gonna hold you. But anyway, enough about my sob story. Y'all know the routine. Y'all know the etiquette. If you're in my house, I would ask you to hit the like button. Let's trigger that algorithm so that more people can get notifications and can see that we're live through YouTube. You already know how this YouTube thing works. I appreciate you brothers and sisters joining me. Y'all doing well so far. the like ratio to actually how many people are here is not bad. So all praises to the Most High. So let's talk a little bit about the title for a second of the video, right? So I call this this is gonna be a new series called Road Rage, and this is volume 1. Now, when I say road rage, doesn't mean I'm always raging. It just means that the name was catchy. The name was catchy, so that's why I call it what I call it, right? Instead of me just having a boring name like the drive-in or whatever, I try to come up with something catchy. I'm not raging about nothing today this morning. I'm good. All praise to the Most High. I actually got a little bit of rest this weekend. That's never, ever the case for me. I'm always going, always working, always doing the Most High's work or something. So I actually got a day, just one day, I actually got a day's rest. And after this week, this week, they have one of those satanic holidays, which is Thanksgiving, and I get that off too. I still have to work my second job, so I don't have that off, unfortunately. But at least I don't have to work both. And most high willing, next week I actually get a vacation. I took a vacation. Believe it or not, Israel, I actually took a vacation where I'm actually going to rest. I'm going to be working, but I'm going to be working for the Most High. So that's a job that we don't get no days off for, right? So I'm going to be putting the finishing touches on my syllabus that I'm having for the upcoming academy in January. So for that week, that's pretty much all I'm going to be doing. Also, working on the documentary that some of y'all know I have coming and some of y'all don't. I have a documentary coming. It should have came out this year, but COVID kind of killed a lot of dreams, a lot of aspirations. COVID kind of killed those things. So that documentary will be coming out next year. I also am in the process of writing a short film. Like, I got my hands, listen, the bottom line to y'all is however I could proliferate the word, I got my hands involved in that. I teach, I go into history, I do music, I produce, I write, I'm going to do short films, documentaries, you name it. I do everything, man. Whatever way I can get the word out, I'm going to put my hands to do that, right? Because people are fished in. The Most High said he made us fishers of men, right? In order to fish people, you have to have bait. Or in order to fish, you have to have bait. You have to have something that will lure the fish to the hook, right? So the Most High said the Most High will make us fishers of men. So there has to be something to lure our people to give ear to this truth. And it's not always going to be that I'm going to turn on my camera and teach a lesson and that's going to just lure people in. For some people, that's not enough to get their attention. It's not going to always be that I'm going to stand on the street corner and teach and give somebody a flyer and they're going to come into the truth. That'll happen sometimes, but not always. Sometimes you have to meet people where they are in life. Wherever they are in life, you got to meet them there. And sometimes you got to change certain situations. Like I always hear people saying, hey, the radio this and the radio that and the music on the radio is horrible and all that stuff like that. But I see a lot of Israelite brothers doing music. So all praise to the Most High for that. That's not even the case no more. Now you can find whatever you like. If you like mumbling, there's Israelites mumbling. If you like lyrics, there's Israelites doing lyrics. If you like singing, R&B, reggae, there's Israelites doing all that stuff, right? You have a handful of people that say that we're not supposed to be doing. I don't know why. If brothers are singing or rapping about the Most High and His word and the truth, I don't know why. Because at the end of the day, everybody listens to music, right? So if Israelites can't make music, you know what you're forced to do? You're forced to listen to secular music because you're going to listen to music one way or another. So if somebody's telling the Israelite they shouldn't make music, you're pretty much saying that all Israelites should listen to is what they call so-called secular or worldly music because we're not allowed to make any. That's just like that logic to me is just simple. It really is. So, like I said, I'm going to meet people wherever they are in order to, if it be the Lord's will, and if they be of the Most High's elect, in order to lure some of them into this truth. So that's why I do what I do. So, yeah. Thank the Most High. I got a little vacation coming up. I sure as hell could use it. But I'm so wired now, unfortunately, in a bad way, to wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning. I don't even know on my vacation if I'm asleep. I'm gonna try to stay up later so I can sleep later. But you know, your body, man, is just it's once it's wired a certain way, it's kind of hard to break that for 1 week and then go back to it. You understand? So it's a little difficult. But anyway, I give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High for all things, for life, health, and strength, for being alive, being able to talk to you, brothers and sisters. If y'all didn't check out the live I did yesterday, I went live yesterday. Some of y'all caught it, some of you didn't. Go back and check that live out. It was pretty good. I was showing you guys a 6-minute documentary on Pfizer Pharmaceuticals, which is the first company that's going to be bringing forth this vaccine that's coming up, right? And Pfizer has a horrible, horrible track record. Pfizer has a horrible, horrible track record when it comes to, especially when it comes to our people, but just medicine in general. They have a horrible track record. They have paid out millions, probably even $1 billion total, if you add everything up, in settlement for lawsuits that have been filed against them for a lot of the medicines that they have created. There's lots of lawsuits, hundreds of millions of dollars, even possibly $1 billion in lawsuit settlements that they've made over the years. Why would a company that has paid out so much money in settlements for making false claims about their medicines, why in the blue blazes, right, would they be given or tasked with the job of creating a vaccine to cure COVID-19? That doesn't make any sense. See, some people say, somebody said on my comment board a few times, and I let him live. He said, I'm a conspiracy theorist. No, I'm a conspiracy realist. And yes, I believe in conspiracies, because there's no way that you would give Pfizer Pharmaceuticals the opportunity to create a vaccine, knowing that they have paid out hundreds of millions, possibly even $1 billion in settlements. And the government of the United Kingdom, aka England, has purchased 25 million doses of that vaccine already. Okay? And believe me, if they spent their money, they planning on using it. So as the Bible says, we are in perilous times right now. These are the last days. This is how we know these are the last days. I also showed in my live how Donald Trump said he ain't taking the vaccine. Or if he does take it, he's going to be the last one to take it. So if the vaccine was so wonderful and so good, why is it that the person that appoints people to these positions, right? Why is this person saying themselves like, hey, I don't know about taking that vaccine, or I'm gonna take it last once you prove it's safe. I'll be last. Why would he want to be last and not be first? If he's the president and it's so safe, wouldn't he want to show the entire country, the public, that it's safe? It's safe for all of us. I mean, the media can't even lie anymore. They know that there's a great number of people that don't plan on taking that vaccine. They know that. They have all types of contingency plans and stuff in place for people that don't want to take it. But one of the ways that they could assuage or calm the fears of the people when it comes to this vaccine would be for the leaders of this country, especially the ones that are pushing it, to take the vaccine first. And man, Donald Trump said, nah. Somebody needs to tie Dr. Fauci down. First of all, somebody needs to get an independent doctor, not one that they would pick, an independent doctor, and somebody needs to strap Dr. Fauci down, and somebody needs to give him the vaccine first. Right behind him, somebody needs to go grab Bill Gates, strap him down, have an independent doctor give him, his wife, and the children the vaccine second. And the list goes on and on and on, right down to you conscious community Negroes too. All you niggas that's talking about the vaccine, Amara Squad, the rest of you dudes, you need to go first. And then give me about a year, let me watch and see what happens with your health. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody out here trying to take that nonsense. Vaccines are supposed to take like 5 years to make, man. These dudes made this joint in 5 months. 5 months. Including testing and everything. In 5 months. Come on, man. Come on, it's crazy. Y'all comment. I can't really see y'all comments till I get to the open road. Right now, I'm like, these are like, you know, this is an area where I got to kind of keep my eyes on the road. So I'm going to shout y'all in a little while. I see y'all commenting out here. Yeah, it's treacherous this morning, y'all. It is treacherous out here this morning. I hate days like this, especially it's a Monday. The fog is crazy. It's raining like crazy. I hate mornings like this, but I have to, you know, I could go to work later, y'all, just so y'all know, because I'm the boss. I'm a supervisor. I could go later, but traffic is much worse the later you go. And in rain like this, I don't want to be in, you know, in all this traffic and stuff like that, because then it's just crazy out here. So I choose to get up at 3 in the morning and go to beat traffic, and also get to leave early as well. So it's one of those situations where it's a give and it's a take, right? But like I was saying, if these guys, you know, feel like the vaccine is so safe, they should have absolutely no problem with being the first people to take it. And don't pull some doctor that you know, that you work with, talking about he's giving you the vaccine, which is really probably just a placebo or something. No, we want an independent doctor that has no affiliation to you to give you, your family, your children, your wife, your mama, your daddy, your grandfather, everybody in your family, the vaccine first, because it's so wonderful, right? And then the vaccine that Moderna is making is different than the vaccine. It has different properties, different qualities, and everything. So which one are we supposed to take? The one from Pfizer or the one from Moderna? And there's another company that's making one too. I forget what company it is. And all these vaccines are different. They're all different. And how you know that they're different, check this out, right, is because these vaccines have something called a patent. A patent, meaning somebody owns it, right? So once you put a patent on something, it's unique. It might be similar, they might be similar in some ways, but there are also unique things about whatever it is you created. So you put a patent on it that you own that. You can't own that if Moderna and Pfizer were making the exact same vaccine with all the exact same elements or whatever that's in there, all the same ingredients that's in there. If it was exactly the same, you can't patent that, because actually Pfizer came out first. They'd be able to patent it. Moderna couldn't even make it. They wouldn't even be allowed to make it. The reason why the 3 companies are allowed to make it, because all their vaccines are going to be slightly different. All these different vaccines to fight the same so-called pandemic. It's just, it's nonsense, right? So, you know, it's interesting. So, like I said, if you didn't catch the live last night, y'all might want to go and check it out, because I showed all those receipts last night. I also went into the whole Thanksgiving thing as well, just briefly. Nothing too crazy. Just went into that as well. Just a friendly word of advice to brothers and sisters. Give me 1 second. Let me see something. Okay. Yeah. Just give me 1 second. Yeah. Just a friendly word of advice to brothers and sisters in the truth, right? So, okay. So, I don't know if I have anybody that's listening that's new to the truth. When I say new, I mean brand new. Like, just coming in under a year. If I do, and you're in the sound of my voice, just listen very carefully, right? The scriptures say, don't be over righteous much. Also, don't be over wicked, right? In other words, there's a balance to everything. So, if you are a young man or a young lady and you're in this truth, and you haven't been able to venture off on your own, and you're still living under your mother or your father's roof, right? It's okay to be honest and truthful. Like, nobody's saying don't be honest and don't be truthful about what you stand for. But also don't be stupid and get yourself kicked out of your family's house because you disrespected your family members or whatever that may be gathering on Thanksgiving, which then again, Esau is saying people should not have gatherings over 6 or bring outsiders in your house on Thanksgiving. I thought we lived in a free country. Now, all these years when we've been telling people to cancel Thanksgiving, they didn't want to do it. Now the white man says cancel Thanksgiving. Niggas is going to cancel Thanksgiving because their daddy, the white man, said it, right? So it took the daddy, the white man, to do it. Listen, hey, however the job gets done, it gets done. So I give all praises to the Most High that the white man is telling Negroes to cancel Thanksgiving and don't have relatives over. I say all praise to the Most High for that. That's the one and only thing that Dr. Fauci said that was a great thing. Shout out to Dr. Fauci for that part. That was good. All praises to the Most High, right? Dr. Fauci done canceled Thanksgiving, and he might cancel Christmas too. Well, we say all praise for that as well. Shout out Dr. Fauci for that. You're still the devil, but damn it, even the devil did a good thing, man. You done practically cancel Thanksgiving and might cancel Christmas too. All praise to the Most High. But getting back to what I was saying before, I was saying that if you are a young man or young woman, it's okay to talk to your family about it. You know what I'm saying? But you ain't got to be over righteous to the point where you start an argument or a conflict and you get put out of your house. I've seen that thing happen. I've seen it happen. Listen, a lot of brothers that you brothers and sisters know very well in Israel, when they were young men, they got kicked out of their mother's house or their father's house for going overboard with trying to force this truth down your parents' throat, knowing that you wasn't in a position to have anywhere else to go if you cross certain lines, right? You don't be over righteous. If it's meant for them to hear this word, they'll hear it. If they're of the elect, they'll hear it. And people also have a time when they're going to hear the word as well. And it may not be their time. So you say what you got to say and you keep it pushing. That should really be your philosophy in anything when teaching this word anyway. Right? Hamashiach, Yahushua said, shake the dust. You don't have to try to force this truth on anybody. Look how easily it was. Look how easy it was for Christ to fish the apostles, right? The Bible says that Christ told the apostles, follow me and I'll make you fishers of men. And the Bible says straightway, I'm paraphrasing, but it says straightway they cast down their nets and they followed him. He didn't give them no deep breakdown. He didn't go into Daniel 7, Daniel 8, Daniel 9, Daniel 11. Nope. He gave them the basic bare minimum, and their spirit bore witness with his spirit, and they realized that that was the Son of God, and so they stopped doing what they was doing and they followed him. It was their time, and they were called. So that's why it was that simple. If you gotta knock your head against a wall and try to wake somebody up, it's two things. Either it's not their time yet to wake up, or they're not of the elect and they're never going to wake up no matter what, because it's not of man. That's why the scriptures tell us in the book of Corinthians, one man planteth, another man watereth, but the Most High gives the increase. Only the Most High can really bring somebody into this truth. Furthermore, Hamashiach Yahushai, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, said, no man cometh to me except the Father send him. So if the Most High didn't send somebody, I don't give a damn how much you stand on the corner and raise your voice and yell. You know why the majority of people keep walking by? Because the Father didn't send them. The Father didn't send them. Either not at that time or maybe never. Because as it is written, 2/3 of Israel is going to be cut off and die. And that's going to be a lot of our family members. I'm having conversations with family members all the time, and I'm saying to myself as I'm talking to them, yeah, you're gonna die. You're gonna die. And it's people that I love too. It's people that I love. This past election cycle brought out all the demons. I just gotta say it like it is, and I'm talking about my family, so can't nobody get offended. This election cycle brought out all the demons in my family. Y'all know that I'm Benjamin, so y'all know my family lineage goes back to Jamaica, right? So you know what that means. That old crusty cop Mala Harris, they call her cop because she was locking Negroes up. That old cop Mala Harris, you can't tell these simple behind Benjamites nothing about cop Mala Harris. They love her. Don't know a damn thing about her family history. They don't give two you-know-whats about the fact that she was locking their brothers, black Americans, up. They don't give a damn about that. A lot of you Benjamites, I'm talking to the tribe of Benjamin. You, especially you Jamaicans, a lot of y'all that's in the world, the Most High gonna wipe you out. I always say, man, when the Most High saved the tribe of Benjamin, I don't think it's gonna be too many from the island of Jamaica. I think it's gonna be them other tribes, because them niggas in Jamaica is off as hell, man. Off as hell. Y'all be the main one. Listen, I'm saying this. My family's from there. I'm saying this. Y'all be the main ones coming to America hating on Judah. They be the Jamaicans mainly. Straight up. Straight up. And now, a lot of y'all clowns are some of the biggest supporters of the alphabet people. Some of y'all are the biggest supporters of the alphabet people. All the people that's getting that surgery to go from one gender to another. Y'all Jamaicans and West Indians, some of y'all are the biggest supporters, man. You're the biggest hypocrites. Start with damn Butcher Bantan, him too. Now we doing road raging now, right? Now I'm raging a little bit. Start with Butcher Bantan, man. This dude done took that song Boom Bye Bye, which is still the best song he ever made. He done took it out of his catalog, talking about he ain't performing that song no more. These dudes have no cojones, no balls. That's why the Most High don't call men like that. The Most High say he don't call many mighty or many great men. But I'm deviating. Back to what I was saying. So, I can't tell my family nothing. So I sit down and I have these conversations with them, and supporting the alphabet people. I'm like, what has happened? And by the way, the biggest reggae artist right now and the biggest dancehall artist right now in Jamaica is Coffee. Her name is Coffee. Yo, she's a carpet eater. She eats carpet, right? She likes to put hot sauce on carpets and eat it. That's her. And she's the biggest name right now, and everybody wants to work with her, and they're bigging her up and all that. So don't let these lying ass. Listen, it's all true. I'm not talking about my brothers in the truth. I'm talking about the most of these dudes in the world. Don't let these lying ass Jamaicans fool you about they not down with the Bati business. They're lying. Your biggest artist is a damn carpet eater. Let's keep it a buck. Let's keep it a buck. All right. So the Most High gonna wipe out a lot of our people. It just is what it is. This truth is a cold deal. It's a cold reality, man. It's a cold deal. That's why everybody can't come up in here and do this work. You can't. You got to be cut from a certain cloth, and the spirit of the Most High has to be dealing with you, because you're gonna come to some real cold realities, man. You're gonna lose some people that's close to you. You know how many people I lost that's close to me in the world, so-called friends? And then when I came into the truth, I lost 10 times as many. Because I'm constantly having to cut people off when they start coming with folly. I done been through my ups and downs in this truth. I've been mistreated by leaders and elders, been parts of splits of schools and all that, and I'm still here. Because I was never here for nobody else. I was always here for the Most High. Most High called me. That's why I be trying to tell some of these brothers, because you still got some camps that like to make their little videos and throw shots. Listen carefully. You didn't call me. I don't care who you are, what your so-called proclaimed title is. You didn't call me into this truth. So you have no say-so of who the Most High calls. You don't. You don't. The Most High calls who he wants to call into this truth. The Most High has to endure who he wants to have endure in his truth. And no man has no goddamn say-so. I know, just looking back at my life, I already know that my whole life prior to me coming into this truth was tailored for me to come into this truth. I didn't understand why things happened to me as a young man in my life, why I lost my father so young, why my mother, couldn't really help take care of me. I lost my mother very young. I couldn't understand why I was in the streets, why I didn't have a place to stay. I didn't understand those things. I didn't understand why at times I found myself homeless, why sometimes I found myself sleeping on the subways in New York. Like when people talk this hard life stuff, I just be looking like, I don't have to get, listen, man, listen. Listen. I was in these streets for real. Like I had a rough upbringing and I couldn't understand why the Most High was kicking my ass the way he was so young. It's almost like I used to say to myself, I never had a shot. So I thought. But all those things now in hindsight, all those things, and this is going to sound cold, all those things built me up to be the man I am today. Even from the Most High taking my parents from me young and all that. Because maybe they would have been, had they been alive, maybe they would have been an impediment for me doing what I do today. Because some people make their parents into idols, right? People think idols are just, the Most High says that covetousness is idolatry, right? People think idolatry is just erecting a goddamn statue somewhere and bowing down to it or what have you. Or because we have a black image of Christ, some cuckoo, Jakes be saying, oh, you guys are committing idolatry too because you painted the image of Christ. No. Anything could be an idol. Your woman could be your idol. Your husband could be your idol. Your children could be your idol. Your job, your car, your house, your money. All that could be an idol. Your parents. All that stuff can be an idol. So when I was young, I used to question, right? Before I came into the truth, I used to question, like, why is all this fuck shit happening to me? After my parents died, my family didn't take me in. None of that stuff. And I couldn't understand. I found myself with nowhere to go. But guess what? That's how I ended up in the truth, right? Yes, I had some brothers bring me to the school that I was rapping with and all that stuff like that. That was the beginning stages. But as soon as I came to the school, the Most High had it where I lost my place of living. I had absolutely nowhere to go. And I showed up at the doorstep of the school and they took me in. And because I was there living in what they called the barracks back in the days in the school, and guess what? It was a lot of well-known brothers in Israel that y'all know today that was living there with me. And because the Most High did it that way, guess what? I was in class every day. See, I look back now and I said to myself, oh, that's why you did that. I was in class every day. I lived right around the corner from the school. The school was on 125th Street and the barracks were on 126th Street. So when I would come home from working on them damn oil tables that brothers were getting robbed on, gotta keep bringing that up because it's true. Niggas don't like when I talk about it, but it's true. When I came home from working on the oil tables, I had no excuse not to be in class. So I would go around the corner and I would sit in class every night except Wednesdays. And that's one of my only regrets, is that I didn't go to Wednesday night class because the brother that was teaching the Wednesday night class was super deep. And I feel like I missed out on a lot of information that I found out later, but I would have known this stuff a lot younger than I had to find it out on my own. Mainly a lot of the history that I teach out today and I know today, a lot of that stuff was coming out in Wednesday night class. And that was the one class I wouldn't go to. But the other 6 days a week, I was in class. And why that's important to me, and I'm speaking for myself, why that's important to me is because by me being in class and getting the understanding of what it is we teach, the doctrine that we teach, when all this to and fro nonsense that goes on in Israel that happens in cycles. That's why the brothers that have been around for a long time, you don't see us bugging out when we see all these heresies start coming into Israel. Oh, the laws are done away with. We already heard that like 10 times. That shit happened like 10 times. Same cycle. You understand what I'm saying? The nations could be saved, all that other garbage. It happens in cycles, so we don't bug out. But early on in my upbringing, I sat down in class and got a chance to ask all the questions I needed to ask, get all the information I need to get to understand fully the doctrine that I'm a part of. Because I'm a researcher, as everybody knows. I research like crazy. I read like crazy. So I wanted to understand what it was I was a part of. I was very inquisitive. And so the Most High kicked my behind and had me go through all that stuff. So I would be humbled down. I had nothing in life except to learn this. That's my testimony. I always tell y'all a little bit about it. But just for the sake of repetition, in case somebody never heard my sob story, I ain't going to go into the whole thing. But the Most High sat me down and took everything from me. And I was forced to sit down, and this truth is all I had. And I couldn't understand why the Most High took everything from me. I couldn't understand for years why I couldn't, even the slightest thing never went my way. Financially, couldn't keep good jobs. Jobs that I had were not really great jobs. And all I had that was good for me was the truth. That was it. And now in hindsight, now that I'm older, I understand why the Lord did what he did. That's why the Bible says, though he slay me, yet will I follow him, man. And the Most High slayed me in a lot of ways, and it's truth. And so I say these things to say to you, whatever it is you're going through, you have to endure. Yahushua said, he that endureth to the end, the same shall be saved. You cannot allow whatever it is that you might be going through in your life to deter you from the truth. Just because the Most High is slaying you in a particular area of your life, and each one of you brothers and sisters that's listening know whatever area it is that you're suffering in, that you might be going through. You wonder, why is the Lord doing it to you? The Lord is refining you. The Most High is refining you. Because, guess what? You're going to have to stand there and be a pillar and a backbone for a brother or sister that's going to go through that same problem later. As a young man, I stood over the casket of my mother and my father as a young man. Now I got grown men, I know, family, friends, everything. My cousin is older than me. My cousin is in his 50s. His mama is still alive. This Negro told me not too long ago, this Negro, and this is what I meant when I say that your parents could be an idol. This 50-something-year-old Negro done told me that when his mother passed, because his mother is like sickly right now, she's in her like 70s, you know, almost pushing 80. He told me when his mother died, he gonna go down to the ground with her. I didn't even listen. I'm very rarely at a loss for words, but this big, strapping 50-something-year-old nigga is telling me this shit when I buried my parents as a kid, and I'm man the hell up, and you telling me what? But the Most High brought me through, because I'm gonna have to go in there and pull his raggedy behind out, as well as brothers and sisters that's gonna come into this truth that's gonna have the same problem. Because at some point you're gonna lose somebody. You better believe it. You better believe it. And it's not a reason to fall out the truth. You're gonna lose somebody. You might lose your house or your apartment and be homeless. Guess what? That's not a reason to fall out the truth. How I know? Because it happened to me. It happened to me, baby. I was sleeping on them New York City subways, man. I'm telling y'all, I could run it down. Listen, I could run it down for you, bro. Niggas from New York know what I'm talking about, but if some of y'all not from New York, you don't know what I'm talking about. Listen, if you get on the 2 train at 241st Street in the Bronx, that's the first stop. You get on the 2 train at like 12 o'clock at night, and you ride to the last stop on the 2 train, which is in Brooklyn. That's a 2-hour train ride. The train will sit in the station for like about 30 minutes. So now it's 2 a.m. in the morning. The train will sit back in the station for 30 minutes, and at 2:30, it's heading back to the Bronx. That's another 2 hours. That's 4.5 hours. By the time you get back to the Bronx, it's now 4:30. Then you take one more trip down to Brooklyn. Now it's 6 a.m. And then you go halfway back to Manhattan. Halfway back is an hour, so now it's 7 o'clock. See how I ran that down? Because I used to do it. Most High brought me all the way down, and I still didn't fall out the truth. I still didn't fall out the truth. You know what I'm saying? The one brother that came through for me, that's why his memory is always blessed with me, and that's why we were so close. The one brother that came through for me when I was going through that was Bun Lawyer, man. Let me tell y'all something about Bun Lawyer that y'all don't know. A lot of brothers, Bun Lawyer was one of them. I don't give a damn how y'all see him in the streets, yelling and screaming, whatever you want to say about that brother. Let me tell you something. So all the people that don't like him or don't like to say he wasn't rolling in the right spirit, he was always hardcore and harsh and to the point. The brother's a Levite. That's how he rolled. But let me tell you something about that brother. Do you know how many people lived in that man's house? Israelites that fell on hard times that lived in that man's house. He opened his door to everybody. A lot of brothers that talk all that brotherly stuff would never open up their door and say, come live with me till you get on your feet, and you don't got to give me no money. Just get on your feet. That's real brotherhood. And remember what Christ said. Christ said, if you do it to the least brother, it's like you did it to him. You see what I'm saying? So that brother's going to get his reward when Christ come back. All you brothers that's hating on a brother or whatever like that, that's your business. Did you open your door for anybody? Did you put anybody up in your house? You know what I'm saying? You didn't. That brother did. A lot of people. A lot of people. I ain't calling no names. I'm just telling my story. But he put a lot of people up. I know that for a fact. And didn't charge no money. And didn't give brothers no date, like, okay, you can stay with me for a month or no. It was open-ended. I'm not saying, obviously, if you do good to somebody, you're supposed to know who you're doing good to. So me and that brother had an established relationship. So when he saw the Most High slay me in that moment, the brother came and picked me up. And that's why we were close. And encouraged me, gave me encouraging words and told me, yo, don't give up. It's going to be all right. You see what I'm saying? But that happened so that I could give a testimony to somebody else that, hey, man, you going through something, you done lost something, you done lost your job, you done lost your place, something happened, you may get kicked out, you know what I'm saying? Whatever the situation might be, it's not a reason to leave the truth, man. This is still the truth. That's why the Apostle Paul said, who shall separate me from the love of God? Who? Or what? Nothing. And he gave a whole bunch of examples. Nothing is supposed to separate you from the love of the Most High and this truth and your calling. Job got slayed. Paul was getting constantly slayed for doing the work. It's going to happen. It's not a reason to fall out. You understand? So I just wanted to say that. I don't even know what particularly brought that on. But, nevertheless, if the Spirit leads me to say it, that somebody needed to hear that. Because sometimes, hey, there's a scripture that Most High said that there's nothing that befalls you that's not common to man. See what I'm driving? I know I'll be butchering some of those precepts, but y'all know what I'm talking about, right? The Most High said there's nothing that befalls you that's not common to man. Meaning it may not happen to everybody, but whatever you're going through, it's happening to somebody else while you speak too. And maybe y'all just don't know each other, or maybe y'all know each other, y'all not saying. But whatever you're going through, somebody else is going through it too. And the Most High is refining you, right? The Israelite man is always talking about that we're fine gold. Well, when gold is dug up, gold has a lot of impurities, and silver. It has a lot of impurities in it. And how gold is refined is through heat, through fire, and take out all the impurities. The impurities that we have in us is sin. So the Most High got to put that heat on you to purify you and purge out those impurities. That's in all of us. And that's why you may be going through something that you're going through. So you're supposed to take it cheerfully. See, people outside of the Bible, the people that hate the Bible, like atheists and stuff like that, they look at when you're going through something and be like, oh my God, see what you're going through? Where is God? Even Job's friends asked, where's the Most High? You know? Job's wife told him, listen, man, why don't you just curse the Lord and die? The way you getting jacked up. But if we are honest with ourselves, we all know our shortcomings. So when the Most High start bringing that hammer down on you, 9 times out of 10, you know why. You know the Most High is just trying to get you right. So you just take that cheerfully, go through it, and you'll come out that much better in the end. And you'll be able to help somebody else through their, you know, whatever their situation may be, man. Because we got people coming in to this truth that's going to be coming from all walks of life. And I have not been through every situation, right? You got people that's going to come through that have been incarcerated, right? And they come home from being incarcerated and they still have, part of them wants to go back to the street. Part of them is in this truth, 1 foot in, 1 foot out. You know, some brothers are coming home, they experienced trauma while they were in prison. They saw a lot of things, whatever the situation may be, people being killed, people being raped, different situations like that. I can't talk a brother through, I could try, but I've never been in that situation. But you're going to have other brothers that have been incarcerated, that have been in that situation, and then came into the truth. Guess what? They're the person that's going to sit down and counsel that person because they've been through it. You're going to have brothers and sisters that's going to come into this truth that have been molested or raped. Well, guess what? You got brothers and sisters in this truth that happened to. You're going to have to be their counselor and tell them how you overcame it. It was a trauma you went through. And now somebody else is going to come in with that same trauma. You got to treat it as though, you know what? I've been through it and I was able to overcome it. I mean, you know, it never goes away, I'm sure. But you're able to overcome it and live through it, right? You're going to have to show you're going to have to show some of these sisters and even some of these brothers that's going to come in that went through that trauma how to deal with it. You know what I'm saying? And there have been situations that I've been a part of counseling a man that was violated by another man. And that brother was struggling, man. He was struggling. And I tried my best to counsel that brother, but I don't know how good of a job I did because I'd never been through it. So I only could tell the brother, I could only give him scriptures. That's it. That's all I could do. Give him scriptures and try to talk him through it and try to get him to snap out of it. You know? And put it behind him the best way I could. But somebody else may have had a better word than me because they lived that experience. So everything that you go through, the bottom line of what I'm saying is everything that you go through and the Most High causes you to experience, that experience will come in handy later. At the time you're going through it, it's tough. You don't know why you're going through it. You become stressed out. Your faith gets a little kind of shaky, you know? But then you overcome it and you're better for it. And you're going to be able to strengthen other people later. Shalom to everybody that's in the chat. I haven't been looking at the chat. I see a few comments here or there. Peace and blessings, y'all. It's a nasty, rainy Monday morning. I'm starting off with this new series, as y'all can see, called Road Rage. I'm not raging. I won't always be raging. The name just sounded catchy. So my man Negro Leagues, I don't know if he's listening or not. But the brother requested that I do these every Monday. He asked me if every Monday I could come on live while I'm driving and just chop it up and just talk to y'all. So this is volume 1. I'm gonna see how y'all react to it, how y'all like it. I know I was doing the drives, sometimes, but I didn't have a set schedule. I was moving with the spirit. But the brother asked me to continually do it on Mondays. Hey, Mashar, shalom to you. Good morning, King. Tawab Bakwar. He asked me to do it every Monday, so I'll do them. No problem. You know what I'm saying? As long as the feedback is good and the interaction is good, I'll do them. If not, then I'll fall back from doing them. You know what I'm saying? So that's that. Tawabaman, thank you. That's. See, I butchered it when I quoted it, but my man, my deacon, he knew what I was talking about. I got the deacon in the building, man. He knew what I was talking about. He done hooked the brother up, man, because I was butchering that joint. You know what I'm talking about? But yeah, in all seriousness, whenever we're going through, and all of us are going to, the Most High is going to try us all in different ways. And also the scriptures say the Most High is not going to give you anything that you can't bear. So if the Most High bring an affliction on you, it's because he knows you built to handle it. Whatever affliction the Most High brings on you that he doesn't bring on me, it's not that I'm special or I'm getting away. It's because the Most High knows I may not be built to handle that particular affliction in that particular area that you're going through. And whatever affliction the Most High brings on me that he don't give you, it's because maybe you weren't built to, but all of us are going to go through something. And there's also something out there that all of us wouldn't be able to bear, and the Most High is not going to give it to you. He's not. You know what I'm saying? Like me, for instance, I'm not trying to sound funny. I hope I don't offend nobody. I wouldn't do too well if somebody had molested me. I don't know. Like, that thing breaks my heart when I hear that it happened to these sisters and some of these brothers. I don't think I could have borne that. I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. I don't think I could have borne that. So the Most High did not allow that to happen to me. The Most High just put my ass in the street and said, "You live here. you sleep there on the subway train. You sleep there." That was my thing. Some of y'all couldn't handle that. But everybody go through something, man. At some point. It's just like a marriage, right? It's just like a marriage. Or even a friendship. And a marriage is a friendship too, to a lot of degree, right? To a degree. In a friendship, what does the scriptures tell us in the book of Proverbs, right? The Most High tell you a friend is proved in a time of trouble, right? I'm butchering that too, right? But you guys know what I'm talking about. Deacon, you know what I'm talking about. That's in Proverbs. You don't really know you got a friend until y'all go through something together. You go through something together, or sometimes even you have a disagreement and y'all able to come back together. Now you know you got a real friend. And we know that in the book of Sirach, it tells you to prove a man. Don't be hasty to credit somebody. Prove them. That goes for a friendship, and you can apply that to a marriage too. Because there is a true saying in the world, you don't know somebody till you live with them. You start living with somebody, like your woman and stuff like that, sometimes you'll see things that she was hiding before y'all moved in together. And in order for her to stop doing whatever it is she's doing, y'all might have some disagreements and some arguments, right? But you got to find a way to come back together because y'all one flesh. And when you guys come back together or come to an agreement, now you are that much stronger as a couple. And I don't want to just put it on the women, it's the men too. You may not know that man. That man may have some bad ways about him that you didn't know. Some things that bother you that you didn't know. Because even in the proving process, right, in the betrothal process, you only know but so much about that woman till you live with her, or that man till you live with them. But the challenge is when you find something. The challenge is not when everything is hunky-dory and everything is good. That's not the challenge. The challenge in any friendship, any relationship, anything is when there is a problem. How do you handle it? How do you resolve it? And how do you come back to that place of brotherly love, sisterly love, or love as a couple? How do you get back? And when you're able to get back, that's when you have something. And that makes you stronger. We could even apply that to a congregation. I'm not talking to the ones, brothers and sisters that don't congregate. I'm strictly speaking to the ones that congregate. What's the beauty of congregating is that you know damn well when you get a congregation, everybody ain't gonna get along. You already know that. But how do you coexist in the same space with a brother or a sister that your mentality, your mindset, your personality is the complete opposite of them, but both of y'all are in the truth? You might be quiet and more reserved. That person may be louder and a little bit more flamboyant or boisterous, right? How do you coexist in the same space? You have to learn. And quite frankly, as a people, I'm not even just talking about in the truth, as a people, we have failed. That's why whatever the divorce rate is in America, within our community, it's even worse. Our children are not growing up seeing mother and father in the same household. They don't even know what that is. We failed. Because we have not learned how to coexist, which the Bible teaches us how to do it. It teaches us how to do it. It is the only solution that teaches us how to do it. Because you realize you can't hate your brother or your sister and love the Most High. So now you got to go back and you got to figure out, well, damn, if I feel hatred or anything or malice towards my brother or my sister or my wife or somebody in the congregation, the Most High said I don't love him, so damn it, I got to go back now and see how I can make this thing right, because I do love the Father. And I do want eternal life. And if you hate your brother or your sister, you cannot receive eternal life. You can't. So you got to go make it right. Only the Bible teaches us how to do it. That's why congregating is so important. Because I'm telling you, as somebody that has been a part of congregations, and as somebody that's now a leader of a congregation and a leader in the Israelite community, I could tell you for certain, when you start congregating, brothers are going to have problems, sisters are going to be bickering at each other. No, it's not an if, it's not a maybe, it is a guarantee. And you're going to sit down and have to get through these problems. How many couples have I counseled? And see, I got my man Marshawn here. You know, he's a leader of a camp. He'll understand what I'm saying. I got my man Deacon Tawabamana here. You know what I'm saying? He'll understand what I'm saying. I'm sure those brothers have done marriage counseling too. Problem number one is looking at you right in the mirror every time. 50% of the problem in any relationship, if it's a friendship, if it's something going on in your congregation, if it's something going on in a marriage, 9 times out of 10, 50% of the problem is looking at you every time you look in the mirror. And every time I do marriage counseling, one of the first questions I ask is, hey, have you done anything or said anything that would be so offensive to your mate or your partner as to why there's such a divide between y'all? And the answer I always get is no, nah, never. Y'all been together for 10 years. And you look at me in my face and telling me you never did nothing. It's all him, right? It's all him. It's all him. He don't know how to treat you. He doesn't know how to talk to you. He's mean, he's this, he's that, he's disrespectful, blah, blah, blah. And you, in 10 years, have never said nothing to your husband to offend him. Here go the sister. No. Okay. So then I know right there, we're not getting nowhere in the council. I already know. So now I'm gonna have to turn up. Now I'm gonna have to turn up because you're playing games. And I'm not trying to be funny. No disrespect. I love my sisters, but it'd be mainly y'all that do that. If I ask a brother, did he do something? 8 out of 10 times they're gonna tell me they did something. They may not tell me everything. I ain't gonna say brothers be 100% forthright either. But I've never had a brother sit in front of me and tell me he ain't did nothing. Especially the longer you've been together. Come on, y'all been together 5, 10, 15 years, and you never said or did nothing where you was actually in the wrong. 9 out of 10 brothers ain't gonna say that because they not, but my wonderful sisters, y'all do that, man. Y'all will look me in my face and tell me you've been with a man for 15 years and you never offended him. You're crazy. Everybody offends somebody. Sometimes even unknowingly. I done had a brother look me in my face and tell me that they were perfect in the brotherhood and they never offended nobody. Yeah, that's the craziest thing I've ever heard. You offend people all the time, sometimes without even knowing. That's crazy. Nevertheless, like I said, that's the beauty of congregating. Although it's given me many gray hairs, and many times I want to turn my phone off because I don't want to be bothered, but it's part of the work. But the beauty of congregating, if I look at it from a spiritual aspect, although it drives me crazy, is that all the problems that I have to deal with, all the fires I have to put out within the body, is really refining all of us, because we have to learn to get along, man. And all I got to do is open up my Bible to 1 Corinthians chapter 1, and I can see that they had the same problems that I'm having in my congregation, and that everybody that's listening to this is having in yours, if you have a body. We also see, and I'm winging it, so I forget which one of the 7 churches, but one of the 7 churches had that problem too. In Revelation, I forget which one off the top of my head. But it's refining us because the Bible says we should gather ourselves together. When we gather together, gonna be problems. But it's still a beautiful thing when we overcome it. I've seen many times, and I'm sure you guys have seen this too. Have you ever seen in the world, it could be 2 brothers or 2 females, and by the way, I hate to see females fighting. That's one of my, I've always in my spirit hated to see 2 females. Like when I used to even be in school age, when I see 2 females fight, I never got none out of that. It's just not feminine to me. I never liked it. Still don't. But anyway, have you ever in the world seen 2 people fight, and after they fight, they like best friends? I don't know about y'all. I used to see that all the time, man. I see 2 dudes knuckle up and shoot a fair one, right? And after they shoot a fair one, especially if it was a pretty evenly matched fight, like they were both getting their licks off, they both, you know what I'm saying? You know what that does? In a strange way, those dudes now respect each other. Like, you know what? This dude right here is not a mark, because me and him threw a fair one, and he held his own, and vice versa. And I've seen dudes that have fought each other become the best of friends, because now there's a mutual respect that they gain for each other, and they overcame whatever their problem was, and now they're the best of friends. I done seen that. And these are people in the world. So if we're in the truth, how much more, man, when there are problems, we should be able to overcome them, man. And we got the scriptures. How much more when we're in the truth and you're married, you should be able to overcome your problems, save for fornication. If your wife commits fornication, you ain't gotta stay with her. But for some of the petty reasons that brothers and sisters be breaking up is ridiculous. For some of the petty reasons that brothers stop being brothers with other brothers is ridiculous. And let me just give a caveat for that. I'm not talking about if a brother brings a heresy. The Bible tells you in Romans 16:17, mark those that cause division and offenses contrary to the doctrine and avoid them. I ain't talking about heresies. I'm talking about you brothers believe the same thing, but y'all can't get along. And y'all stop speaking. It's ridiculous. Good morning to you, King. Yeah, I'm doing my thing. I'm driving safe through the spirit and power of the Most High. I got up extra early. Actually, I woke up at 2 a.m. this morning, man. My sleeping pattern is all completely jacked up. I woke up at 2 o'clock this morning, and I have this thing where when I wake up in the middle of the night, I can't go back to sleep, but then around like 2:45 or 3 o'clock, I start getting sleepy again. And if I lay my head back down, I'm gonna wake up like 2 or 3 hours late. even if my alarm is set. So once I wake up and I see that I can't sleep, I just stay up. So I knew it was a rainy, nasty day this morning, so I just got up and got in the car, and I said I would drive down and take my time, so that's what I'm doing. I'm saying I'm driving under 60 miles an hour right now. There's not a lot of cars out here, so I ain't gotta break my neck or nothing like that. So I'm driving safe, but the water for that. So anyway, that's wow, and I got down here because there was no traffic. I got down here in an hour and 10 minutes. That's good. It's supposed to take an hour and a half. All praise to the Most High, man. All right, so enough of that. As usual, before I get to work, I open up the floor for if anybody has anything they want me to talk about. I'll talk about it. So if you have something you want me to address or say, you can put it in the chat. Just family, just a caveat, but no folly. No folly. I'm not partaking in any folly, brothers and sisters. The world is halfway upside down right now. This kingdom is holding on by a string right now. I think there's way more important stuff to focus on than folly. So I'm willing to talk about anything as long as it's not folly. If you come into me with folly, you will be summarily dismissed. I would just kindly wish you a good day and a good life, and you can go on about your business. Because my time is valuable, and I'm dedicating my time and my life to the proliferation of teaching this truth, teaching my people repentance through faith in Hamashiach Yahushai, and being someone that's making a real difference with my people. And when you do those sort of things, you have no time and no tolerance for folly. You don't. So I'm gonna keep calm, and I'm just gonna stay away from folly. And I've been counseling some other brothers in Israel, a handful of other brothers in Israel, to do the same thing. All the folly that's going on in Israel is a distraction. I believe, this is my personal opinion, some of the stuff that's going on in Israel is manufactured by an unseen hand. Because as long as we're bickering and fighting with each other, we ain't focused. So some of it, I believe, is being caused by an unseen hand, and some of it is just that brothers got the devil on them. That's just what it is. And so I've been encouraging brothers that have a platform and that are prominent and that are teachers and that are leaders in Israel, that if I could give you any advice, if you trust the advice I give you, stay focused. Stay focused on the mission at hand. The mission the Most High gave us was to go to our people and teach them repentance and that the kingdom of heaven is at hand. That is the mission. Sometimes we all deviate, including myself. But then we got to catch ourselves and get back on code or back on the mission. If you find yourself in the midst of folly and drama too often, then you're not on the mission. You're not on code. You need to examine yourself and get back on code and get back on the mission. It's as simple as that. If the majority of your videos is not teaching your people, I'm talking about your lessons. Now, I want to be very clear that I ain't talking about what I do here on Maccabeestv, because this is not a classroom setting. I just talk to y'all. Y'all already know what I do here. I ain't got to go through it again. But I'm talking about when you on the streets teaching, your street teachings, or your classroom teachings. If 50%, and that's a low number, but if 50% or more of what you teach is not repentance, then you need to examine yourself. And you need to rethink the mission. Because the mission that Christ told us to teach repentance. Through him. That's what the church at Galatia couldn't understand. Let's talk about that real quick. What is it? Galatians chapter 3? Where it says, O foolish Galatians, who hath bewitched you that you should not believe the truth, before whom Christ was so evidently put forth? So you have to ask yourself, Paul is speaking to the church at Galatia. Ask yourself, who was bewitching the church at Galatia? I have a whole PowerPoint on this. Who was bewitching the church at Galatia? I'm going to tell you. It was the Pharisees. That's who it was. How do I know that? Because Galatia is not a church. Some people get that twisted. I'm going to say it again. Galatia is not a church. When you read Galatians chapter 1, it says the churches, plural. The churches of Galatia. That's who that epistle was written to. It wasn't just one church. Galatia was considered to be a country. When you read the book of Acts, I believe it's Acts the 18th chapter, it speaks about the country of Galatia. And throughout the country of Galatia, there were many churches. That's why when you read Galatians chapter 1, it says to the churches of Galatia. Now, when you read Acts chapter 14, going down towards the end, some of those cities that the apostles were going to, and Paul and them were going to, that was Galatia. Towards the end of Acts 14, some of those cities that the apostles were preaching the gospel in, some of those cities were in the country or the province of Galatia. And so you had the Pharisees coming behind the apostles, trying to bring Israel back into bondage under that old animal sacrifice. Then when the chapter picks up in chapter 15, which is a continuation of chapter 14, it says, and certain brothers came down from Judea, down to where? Nobody ever asked that question. And certain men came down from Judea, down from where? Down to where? Where did they go? They came from Judea down to where? To Galatia, amongst other places. And they were teaching animal sacrifice for remission of sins, and that if you weren't circumcised, you could not be saved. That is why when you read Galatians chapter 3, Paul speaks about who is bewitching you. The people that was bewitching them were these Pharisees that were coming down and trying to bring Israel back into bondage under that old covenant of animal sacrifice. That's what he's going into in Galatians chapter 3. I've gone over this before, but y'all better trust and believe. I'll probably be doing a quick PowerPoint lesson on this at some point this week. Just probably the first 5 verses in Galatians chapter 3, because that's another scripture that the lawless lights try to use. So we're gonna go ahead and take that away from them too, like we did the rest. They try to use that scripture to say you ain't got to keep the commandments when that's not what it's talking about. But that's what's going on in Galatians chapter 3. You had men that was trying to bewitch them with false doctrines. All right? So that's that for now. Anybody else have anything that they want me to talk about? Yeah, everything is a distraction, y'all. So, all right, Masha, right? I'm gonna call you this week, Lord willing, King. I've been saying, and I definitely need you to come on because you're doing a lot of stuff. You're doing a lot of stuff, and I love what you're doing as a young leader coming up in Israel. You're doing a lot of things. And that real estate that you're doing is one of the great things. It's not the only thing, as you know, I know, but that real estate that you're dealing with is a great thing. So I most certainly want to, I'm going to talk to you this week, a little bit later in the week, and we can come together and do a live and bring you on so you can tell people the great things that you're doing in Israel. And also I want to fill you in on some of the stuff that I got going on that I haven't announced yet publicly, but just to let you know some of the stuff that I'm doing as well. The Most High has opened up a great door for my household, for Lions of Israel, and ultimately for all Israel that the Most High opened up. I just don't really want to talk about it just yet, but I'll tell you. So we'll talk this week, Lord willing. And this is another brother. Let me just say this too. This is another young brother that a lot of you old niggas be trying to hate on, man. And I don't like that, man. There's a lot of good young brothers that's coming up in this truth, and because these young brothers are coming up and doing great things, and sometimes doing works that surpass some of you niggas that been around for a while, some of y'all get salty. I've talked to a few of y'all. You got some real salty Negroes in Israel, man. Instead of being salty, you should be encouraging these young brothers like Marshall and other brothers that's doing well. But you know what it is? Some of you, I'm talking to you old niggas, man. I'm an old nigga too, but I ain't a hater. I'm talking to you old niggas that be hating, right? Some of you brothers want the preeminence so bad it's ridiculous, man. I be watching how some of the younger brothers, the Most High is using them and doing great things through some of these younger brothers, and some of you older niggas be hating, man. I'm a call because I see it. And sometimes y'all try to spread that hate over here, but I'm not a hater. You heard? I'm not a hater, and I'm a young old nigga. I rock with the young dudes. You heard? That's how I'm living. Anyway, what else? I get that from the elder Marshall, one of the founders of the old school. I get that from him. Marshall was in his 60s and 70s, and Marshall rocked with the young dudes. That's gonna be me, man. I'm gonna be 60. I'm gonna be 60 years old. Lord allow. Oh wow, Lord allow. I'm gonna be 60 years old, and everybody around me in my circle gonna be like 20, 25. Know what I'm talking about? Oh, the young men keep you young. When I go to the gym, I train with the young dudes. I don't train with the old dudes because the young dudes be pushing me. Like I'll go to the gym, I'll be tired, feeling sorry for myself. Like, all right, I'll be commending myself. The scripture say don't commend yourself, right? I'll be commending myself like, well, look, I'm here, right? So I ain't gotta put a lot of weight on today. Like I only do videos for y'all when I'm doing heavy weight, but there's a lot of days I don't do heavy weight. I'll be tired as hell, and I commend myself, well, at least I'm here, right? And then the young dudes be like, nah, we want to train with you. So I'm like, all right. And then I already told myself I ain't doing lifting heavy. And here these dudes go piling the weights up on the rack. Now I ain't trying to play myself and look stupid. So then I wind up doing the heavy weight. Because the young dudes is gonna push you, man. They not in there to be pushing no daggone lightweight. They're not in there for that. You know what I'm saying? And they want to hang around me. So they push you. That's why I love the young brothers, man. Always did. It was the young brothers that made me start making music again. I had gave that stuff up when I was like, I think the last time I made a record was when I was like 20. If you listen to the record, I was 22 years old the last time I made, I was 22 years old the last time I made a record. I had been in the truth, 19, 20, 21, so I had been in the truth for 3 years, and the truth is all I cared about. I didn't give a damn about music no more, nothing. Didn't want to, didn't care about it no more. And I gave it up at 22. And then I started hanging around my brothers, Magun and Danyaahla, and they was making music. They in their 20s, they was making music. And I made the mistake of letting them hear an old record that I did like in the 90s. I let them hear the record. And after that, Magun never stopped asking me to just do a song with him. And I kept, brother, nobody don't, I gave it up years ago, and he kept pushing and kept pushing and kept pushing, and I finally did the record. And then he wanted me to do another one, and then I did another one. You see what I'm saying? And then of course everybody knows the story. Like when he went through what he went through, when he's in the hospital, he's trying to cheer his spirit up. And the man was like, yo, I want you to make a whole album. I was like, all right. And I did. It's the young brothers that push you and keep that energy going. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate the young brothers, all you younger brothers, man. Y'all continue to do whatever the Most High put on your heart to do, man. It's all about proliferating the word. That's it. And you brothers are going to bring in energy and ideas and stuff that older brothers don't have, and that's okay. It's a beautiful thing. You know what I'm saying? So y'all can see I'm here. It's 5 o'clock. I got the opportunity to go upstairs and take a nap for an hour and a half or talk to y'all. Let me see how my lights are looking. They're not looking that great. Looking all right. So I could choose. If y'all want me to stay here and talk to y'all, and y'all have to interact because it's too quiet. Anybody have anything that they want me to talk about? Going once, going twice. Or do y'all just want me to go inside and take a nap? I could do that too. I don't know. Ambassadors have, you said kind, but I don't know which question you're answering that I said. I don't know if I should go sleep or if I should keep going. Oh, G Deb said go to sleep. You got love for your brother. That's brotherly love right there, brother. You want your brother to get some rest. That's some brotherly love right there. I appreciate you. Yahweh Yasharla, you said you want me to talk about King James. What do you want me to talk about him? Sometimes I think I talk about that too much. I think I'll be talking about him too much sometimes. No. The new moon is a feast day. We get together and we feast and we celebrate the new moon in terms of it just being like a feast day where we get together, we have a little gathering. But the new moon is not a holy day. It's not a Sabbath. All right, the holy days are mentioned in Leviticus, the 23rd chapter. Those are holy set-apart days. But the new moon is a gathering. So we do definitely get together and gather on the new moon. But to call it like a high holy day would be a little bit of a stretch. And the reason, real quick, just to add on to that, the reason how you know that is because the Most High never commanded, on the holy days, the Most High tells us we're not supposed to do any work for hire, right? The Sabbath, the Passover, the high holy days, we're not supposed to do any servile work. The Most High does not command us any such thing on a new moon. So it's not on the same level as our holy set-apart days. But it is a set-apart day in its own right? Because that's how we gauge our holy days is by the moon. All right, so hopefully I answered your question. The new moon is a black moon. No shade to the brothers that's teaching that it's the full moon, but the new moon is the black moon, not the full moon. Yeah, brother. So you said something to talk about King James, but I don't know what you. Well, Jamali, that's something that I guess that that's a whole lesson, right? And it's a good conversation to have. I probably wouldn't have it on this channel. I more or less probably have it on my channel where I do lessons. So if you want to, my YouTube page is Priest Danyaahla Uncut. Now I haven't put any of my classroom lessons on there in a while. I kind of just have them all at home, but I will be uploading some of my lessons up there soon. If you want to have a discussion over there, if you want me to do a lesson over there on the subject, I will. But what I will say is that here's the thing in Israel, right? When you do a lesson, right, and teach your doctrine, sometimes brothers take it as though you slighting them, which is just retarded. Because when they teach their doctrine, I don't take it as a slight for me. We just don't agree. But I know if I do a lesson on the new moon being the black moon, You have certain brothers that's gonna get in their feelings like I'm not addressing nobody. Like I'm doing what I do, and I'm teaching what I know. Okay, Gamali, I'll do it on my channel. All right, so we'll get back to that. We'll get back to that. It's not a problem. I'll do that on my channel. All right. Some of the precepts that are being used to proliferate that doctrine are kind of being taken out of context. I can just tell you that. Right, but that's for another thing. Now, somebody just asked me something about wine, right? So there is an Israelite wine company. The name of the Israelite wine company is called Rejoice, G-Deb. I don't know if you ever heard of them, but there is an Israelite wine company called Rejoice. So maybe you want to Google if somebody knows, and they can put the link in here. It's Rejoice Wine. Just put that in Google. You might be able to find them. It's an Israelite company, and a lot of Israelites have buy wine from them. Like I see a lot of brothers and sisters posting, the different flavors of wine that they Okay, this is Byron Israel. I don't know what's happening. Like I'm trying to figure out where you're coming from or what it is that you're trying to say. But I don't know if you just got here. But over here, we ain't doing all of that. I'm gonna tell you kindly, whatever it is you're talking about, if it's what I think you're talking about, I would ask you to do that on another page and not over here. We're focused on the kingdom over here. We're focused on teaching repentance over here. We ain't getting back and forth into no other back and forth, and none of that stuff is going on. Let's do that on another page. I'm trying to be kind, because I already noticed some people are going to want to spill over that folly over here. So I'm just kindly telling brothers and sisters, I'm not going to allow it. I'm not going to allow it. Well, I have my opinions on what I've been seeing, right? But here's the thing. I'm not going to get online and talk about it to y'all, because it's just my opinion. I wasn't there to witness none of that happen. But Mighty Hebrew inboxed me. This morning, last night, talking about he wants my number. He wants to talk to me. I already know what he's gonna. I already know what he wants to talk to me about. I don't think he's gonna like the answer he's gonna get when he talks to me. But if he wants to talk, I gave him a number. He could call me. But just be prepared to hear something that you may not want to hear. I'm just gonna leave it there. What else do y'all want? Well, yeah, I was talking about the wine thing. So yeah, there's a company called Rejoice. So look them up. Also, my household makes wines as well, right? You can I see Sister Malika in the chat. So if you want to put the link for the wine that you make in the chat, you could do that as well. I don't know if you have any bottles left or if you still have it up on your website or not. But if you do, brother just asked about Israelites making wine. Israelites should make their own wine, especially with Passover coming up again. And Israelites should have their own unleavened bread. We should not be buying from man. First of all, Manischewitz is nasty to me. It always has been. I never understood, and I've been around a minute. I have never understood how people eat those nasty Manischewitz crackers that they eat, those matzahs. I have never, I am not exaggerating, family. I exaggerate not. When I tell you, I don't think in almost 30 years that I have eaten even one box of Manischewitz. I'm talking about in its entirety. Every Passover I went to that they had it, I will break off a little piece of it, eat it, whatever it is. But I never ate the whole thing. So if you multiply my almost 30 years in the truth by how much Manischewitz I've eaten, maybe I've had one box in my entire life. That's how I never liked that thing. I was so happy when everybody started making their own unleavened bread and stuff like that for Passovers. That was one of the greatest days of my life, man. Because that thing is disgusting. Yeah, yeah, I know. Yes, it's what brothers are first introduced to, and let's be frank, brother. Manischewitz is cheap. That's why brothers really like it because it's cheap. So you can get you for like $20, man. You can get you about two big behind bottles of Manischewitz. It's cheap. They have other brands too, like Mogan David. I know we were drinking a wine called Jeunesse. That's what we was drinking. One of the elders in our camp introduced a wine called Jeunesse that we was drinking for Passover. It's like a kosher wine, but it's an organic wine too. So those things cost a little bit. So we was drinking that. But yeah, that Manischewitz is cheap, fam. That's why everybody drinks it. But it don't taste good. Now, at least the grape one doesn't taste good to me. Some of the other flavors are not bad, but I could. If it's cheap, it's also not good for your body. It's also not good for you as well. That's why it's so cheap. They're taking whatever they're doing with the wine, distilling it, whatever they're doing it the cheapest way they could do it. That's why it don't cost nothing. They're using the cheapest, ingredients and all that. So, that's why it costs so much. So it costs so little. So I'll pass on the Manischewitz, honestly. What else? Y'all got to give me something good, or else I'm really gonna go. If y'all want to talk about something, you have to give me something decent, or else I'm gonna cut out. Somebody asked me about King James. I'm still waiting for you to tell me what you want me to talk about that. I think I've said just about everything about it, other than showing you guys the PowerPoint, which I said like a week ago that I'm gonna redo the whole PowerPoint live again at some point. Because the audio quality and the video quality when we did the PowerPoint last time was not good. Now that we have new apparatuses like or applications, I should say, like StreamYard and stuff like that, I think you guys could see the slide better than somebody holding a camera while I'm showing the slides and the camera is shaking all over the place and half the slide is in the camera shot and half is not because the cameraman is not paying attention. I'm just gonna keep it a buck with y'all. Y'all know how many videos I've done of like I would do these lectures and stuff like that, and I'll put brothers on the camera, and the brother on the camera is talking to the person next to him, so you hear their conversation over me teaching, or the brothers like in La La Land or whatever, and so half the screen is showing and half the screen is not in the shot, so the people at home can't even see the PowerPoint slide that I'm showing. You know how many videos I had to throw away because I'm up there teaching. So I don't know the video footage is no good until after I'm teaching, I go grab the camera, like, let me see. And y'all know how many videos I've had to throw away. That's why all them lectures that me and Hashar did, why y'all think y'all don't see a lot of the footage? Because the cameraman, we love our brothers. Shout out to LOI, AOC. We love our brothers, but that camera work be awful, man. I ain't gonna hold you. It be awful. And so y'all wind up losing out if you don't come in person, But that's gonna change, man. That's gonna change. It's as simple as investing in a camera stand, right? Instead of giving it to a brother to hold on to. So going forward in the future, that's gonna change. So I want to redo that whole King James lecture again before I give it. You said, where did the fake images of King James and the coins come from? Well, if you go to the, I believe it's called the National Gallery in England, and I couldn't tell you off the top of my head, but it gives you the names of the people that painted the images that are hanging in the National Gallery, right? A lot of those paintings are not from these guys' lifetime. A lot of these paintings were like after these guys died. The same thing goes for Charles II, right? I actually caught Garfield out there because Garfield was talking about how Charles the First commissioned all this artwork to be restored and brought back to England, and they're in the National Gallery. But when I did research on the very same website he did, I found out that the artwork that Charles I commissioned to be gathered was Renaissance artwork. That's that stuff from Italy. It wasn't the artwork of the British monarchy. It wasn't that. So I caught him on that. So the names of the artists that painted those images are attached to them. You can go to the National Gallery online and you can see who the people were that painted the images. But that's not. Here is how you prove that there is some type of lie going on with this whole thing with the Stuart family. Remember, they're from Scotland. And so you have images of his father in two of the most prominent Scottish museums, even to this day. And those images of his father are black. I've shown them before. So it presents a contradiction, and the images of his father that are in England are white. So there's a contradiction. The images of his father in England are white, but the images in Scotland are black, which I've already shown. Only one of those images could be right, and one is wrong, right? Furthermore, his cousin, Elizabeth I, is also described in history as being a black woman. I've shown that. I see I'm going to have to revisit this stuff because this stuff, like I say, repetition is everything. So you know what? I think I'm going to go live maybe later on today if I'm up to it, if I get home on time. If not today, maybe tomorrow. But I'm going to open up that portion of the PowerPoint, not the whole thing. But I'm going to open up that portion of the PowerPoint because what people have to explain to me is if King James was a white man, why is there so much evidence that he had these black relatives? Because he had these black relatives. It's there. Elizabeth I is his cousin. And she was described by a source as being, matter of fact, he was the ambassador to England. He was from Venetia. He was the Venetian ambassador to the English throne. Described Elizabeth I as being a black woman. And that's King James's cousin. Where the hell did he get a black cousin from? And then, like I said, the images of his father in Scotland are black. I've shown these things already. His name was James Stewart. That's his name. His name is James Stewart. His father's name is Henry Lord Darnley. Henry Lord Darnley. That's his father's name. And his mother's name was Mary Stewart. His mother had his father killed because she was having an affair with another dude. After his mother had his father killed, Elizabeth I had Mary put in jail. And he was raised by tutors because he was the heir to the throne. So he was raised by tutors until he became of age. And when Elizabeth died, he became king. He became king of Scotland first. Then when Elizabeth died, he became king of England and Scotland, being the first one to hold the throne of both. And what happened was, now I'm just giving y'all a brief history off the dome, off the top. What happened is that him coming in being the first king of England and Scotland, the English always hated the Scottish. So they were already upset that you had a king. The king was a Scot. They didn't like that. On top of that, his privy council was all Scots too. So the English nobility, they didn't like that. They didn't like that. You know what I'm saying? That everybody that was around him that gave him advice were also Scots, because there was a great beef between the two factions, right? And by the way, let me just say this: there is a difference between the English and the British. Just so y'all know, the English is white people. Just so y'all know, the English, when you read about these Englishmen during that time, those are white people. The British is the black people. Just so y'all know, that's a whole nother. But yeah, and them Englishmen did not like the Scots. Okay, so that's why there was all these attempts on his life and all this other stuff. And pretty much the last few years of his life, he ruled from his bedroom. When you read the history, he was ruling from his bedroom because there had been like 8 attempts on his life. So he wouldn't even leave his bedroom at all because somebody was always trying to kill him. And so the Englishmen or nobility didn't have access to him the way the Scots did, because he only allowed his privy council, people he trusted, into his bedchambers. That's all he allowed. So there was a lot of beefs. There was a lot of beefs between the two factions. That's where a lot of the history comes from. Somebody asked me, did he know he was an Israelite? I don't know that he knew he was an Israelite, but they are called, the error is called the Jacobian error. The Jacobian error. That's not by accident, right? That's not by accident. It's called the Jacobian error. Also, when you read the book, when Scotland was Jewish, in there it tells you that the kings of Scotland knew that they were direct descendants of King David. They knew that. That's in that book, When Scotland Was Jewish. They knew that. So, yeah, you can look that up. It's called the Jacobian error. I want to say, I got to go back and look at it. Because the way the history goes, King James ruled, right? He died in 1625. Then his son, Charles I, came into power, right? And Charles I was beheaded by an Englishman, a white man, right, named Oliver Cromwell. And Oliver Cromwell became Lord Protector of England for a certain amount of time. Then Oliver Cromwell was killed, and the Jacobians came back into power. His line came back into power. And they ruled all the way until they ruled all the way up until you start seeing the Georges, which is the Hanovers, right? You have different dynasties, just like in Egypt you have dynasties. You have so-called dynasties in the British monarchy as well. So you have what is known as the Hanover dynasty came in after. All right, I apologize about that, family. It's buffering, and it said my battery's about to die. So that's all the Most High. Y'all will be all right. So I was saying that you had his posterity. They ruled all the way until there was no more male heirs to the throne. And so that brought in what was known as the Hanover dynasty, which is after them. The Hanovers were also black as well. Just so y'all know. The Hanovers